franchise Shane Douglas, ECW's original World Heavyweight Champion. Right now, you're watching the #1 wrestling podcast on all of Long Island, Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh.
The Monty and Pharaoh Show.
And you're watching the Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
With Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
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 Monty and Pharaoh.
It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
And Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monty and the Pharaoh?
Monty and Pharaoh.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show.
The Monty and the Pharaoh.
To the Monty and the Pharaoh Show. And it's Monty and the Pharaoh, baby.
Watching Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, what a rush.
We've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monty and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we gonna rock it.
Straight to the top. We're living this life, not just dreaming it, we're doing it for real. Straight to the top. Working hard every day just to live out that tower.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, only seen here live from Village Connection Network, live from Rockstar Studios, and at the desk is none other than studio owner and super producer himself, and also co-host of many shows, Mr. Jim Savali. Jim, how are you, buddy?
What's up, boss?
Good to see you. Good to see you. How was your weekend, man?
It was short.
Yeah, it was a short weekend.
Ready for another one.
I hear you. I look forward to the weekends for sure. So we got some big news at Village Connection. Tonight marks the time of the new Rated R Superstar. Flashed out?
I'm sorry, bro.
It's okay.
We had a little mishap there.
All right.
But we are back. I was having a hard time getting you on the screen, bro.
Oh, so we're back now.
We're back now. I'm really
cool.
sorry about that.
Sorry about it. I was black.
You were black.
I was black.
Black
Anyway,
is back.
Black and back. Anyways, today marks a great time for Village Connection Radio as the Dan Romano show starts tonight at 9:15. The #1 Rated R show on Long Island.
Did I mention that Hell also froze over tonight?
It did froze. It did freeze over. Here's a question for you, though. So I've heard Dan be compared to like the Howard Stern of Long Island. Right?
Okay.
How come no one ever wants to be the Rick Dees of Long Island, or the who was the guy that did the New Year's Eve all time? I can't believe.
Oh yeah, him.
Yeah, him.
I might shoot to be him. Rick Dees.
But why has everybody got to be Howard Stern?
Yeah,
I don't know. But anyway, it's an exciting time.
Pretty soon they wouldn't want to be the Monty.
Tune in right after Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast. Catch Dan Romano. It's an exciting time for the station. And again, hell has frozen over. Everybody's known the past between this station and Mr. Romano, but he is now here, and it's an exciting time for all of us. I want to thank Aqua Cherry, who sings our theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh. Aqua Cherry can be heard, and you can buy their music on Spotify, Reverb Nation, or wherever music is sold. Straight to the top is the Monty and the Pharaoh theme song, and we thank them for everything. Catch Monty and the Pharaoh on iHeartRadio, Anchor, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, Breaker, and on Channel 115 every Tuesday at 8:30, the reduced portion of Monty the Pharaoh. And on Saturday at 1:15, every Saturday at 6 a.m. So for all you early risers, you'll get to see our guest who's on, which I'll announce in a minute. But I want to cover, it's a big weekend for Monty and the Pharaoh. So tomorrow, March 6th, we have Jake the Snake Roberts. Really? We have Jake the Snake Roberts, but guess what? No, we really don't have Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake is canceled with us, so for people who were looking forward to catching that show, I do apologize. It came unexpectedly. But on March 7th, we'll be seen at the big event. Monty and the Pharaoh have a table there where we've got none other than Mr. USA Tony Atlas and WWE superstar Sonny Beach at our table. And then we return back to the studio where we do a tribute for Rocky Johnson, who passed away recently. We have Tony Atlas and Pat Tanaka in studio. They'll be sharing stories about Rocky and sharing stories about being on the road. Right after that is WWE superstar Mr. Hughes. Mr. Hughes is the bodyguard in the NWA for, I believe, Harley. Well, was with Harley Race, and then eventually went to the WWE and took the Undertaker's urn. And by the way, the Undertaker will be at the big event on March 7th, along with Braun Strowman, and recently added was Matt Hardy. Right after that, we have Greg Gagne in Stern Gagne, and along with him will be the Killer Bees, B. Brian Blair, and Jim Brunzell. Again, Greg was partners with Jim Brunzell with the High Flyers in the AWA, and eventually Jim went to the WWE to work with B. Brian Blair as the Killer Bees. So that's what we got going on. It's going to be an exciting time. And Randy, we've got our special guest, Randy Hogan, tuning in via Skype. Randy, welcome aboard, my friend. How you doing today?
Great, thanks. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you, and welcome aboard.
Big weekend.
Yeah, so let me ask you, you excited for the big event? Have you been there before?
No, this is a first time.
Big event on Saturday and WrestleFest in Albany on Sunday.
Oh, so you're doing the major tour, right?
That's it.
So the big event is a big deal this time around, right? They've really packed it out with Strowman, Undertaker, Bret Hart, and yourself. You are there for the first time.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is a big deal, right?
I mean, you got to have Randomania running wild, right?
Well, listen, Randomania, let me ask you this. Can Randomania beat coronavirus? Are you a little worried about being in a hotel where there's going to be 3,500 people with you?
No, not a bit.
How come? Tell the fans why they should go and not be in fear of coronavirus.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why they shouldn't be afraid. I ain't afraid, so they don't got to be afraid. We got a problem. They can come see me. I'll protect them.
Do you think you'll be wearing...
The only item I'm worried about virus is the fireball virus.
The fireball?
Fireball virus, that's right.
The fireball virus.
You drink enough fireball, you're going to feel sick.
So let me ask you, will you be wearing gloves, though, during this?
No.
No? Man, you are quite the professional. I think I might be wearing a mask myself.
Oh, no, don't do it.
Don't do it?
Hide that pretty face?
Oh, I'm not that pretty, but, I got to tell you, though, I am a little surprised they did not cancel the event. I know being in what I do for a living, we do a lot of trade shows and things like that, and they've canceled a lot of these trade shows. And I don't know if you heard, I think the Schwarzenegger Classic was canceled in Ohio, right?
Yep.
So, again, well, I'm hoping everything's okay, and I hope if anyone does feel sick, they have enough common sense not to come to the big event, and we'll send you autographed pictures. So, Randy Hogan,
yes, sir.
How did you break into the business, sir?
Long story short, I've just been a fan since I was 4 or 5 years old. My grandparents used to take me at Cobo Hall in Detroit, and I'd see Dick the Boozer and the Sheik and Bobo Brazil and guys like that. Just a fan my whole life. So I played in the band, and I was working in Columbus, Georgia.
All right, hold on. You were in a band. What did you play? Were you playing bass like your alter?
Drums and trumpet.
Okay, good.
We had before the disco era, we had a 9-piece show group, and we'd play hotels and stuff. Anyways, we were playing a real Holiday Inn tour in Columbus, Georgia. Every Wednesday night they'd have wrestling matches there, and I knew pretty much all the guys there, Eddie Mansfield, Wahoo McDaniels guys, and they'd stay at the Holiday Inn and we were playing, so we'd see them. And I'd go up and talk to them and everything. So anyways, I got to know Eddie Mansfield pretty good. And there was Ted and Jerry Oates. Jerry Oates owned a gym there and trained a couple of guys. In fact, you mentioned Marty Jannetty. He was one of them.
Marty's been on the show a few times.
Yeah. So I was managing a restaurant after the band. I was living down here in Florida in Boca Raton. Closed the restaurant and said, well, what am I going to do now? And, I just want to see if this wrestling, is it real or is it fake, like they said? What's it all about? I didn't know. And again, back then, when kayfabe was alive and well, it was like a magician. You couldn't get into the business unless you really knew somebody. Nobody really knew what was, what wasn't. There was no internet or anything like that. So I started training with Jerry Oates. His gym, he had a room in the back of the gym, mats on a cement floor, no cushy rain or nothing. So you learn how to fall. You learn how to fall on a hard floor. And I had some injuries and got out. Anyways, I came back 3 or 4 months later, and Ted Oates, his brother, rented a storefront. Now we had a ring and everything, a real school. And I went there and worked for about 13 months. I stayed just training, just wanted to see. Never wanted to be a wrestler. Just wanted to see what it was about. So I went to school. Had one match, which was just a student's match, a police athletic league fundraiser. And that was it. Then about 5 or 6 months later, I went to the auditorium where they had the NWA at the time was there. And the guy I trained with was setting up the ring. So I said, Bill, what are you doing? He said, I'm wrestling a little bit at this little bar up in North Georgia, some little town. And he said, why don't you come with me? So I went up there with him a couple times, took my stuff, and got in a match. Randy Franklin I was going by at the time. And the promoter there says, you look like that Hulk Hogan guy. He says, so we're going to call you Hal Hogan.
Nice.
So I thought about that, and I said, well, I don't know who they're going to be talking about. Somebody says Hal. I said, how about Randy? He says, okay. So that's kind of how it was. So I went home, bleached my hair blonde, always had the tan and everything. And that was it. Just kind of worked my way up through the indies, for a hot dog and a Coke a lot of places. So driving 4 or 5 hours.
That's what I was about. What was Randy Hogan making at that time? Like, what was your pay for a match?
Well, if I got more than a hot dog and a couple of Cokes, it started out maybe $25, $20, $25, $30. Then you hit big time, you got up to $50 a match.
So wait, so you own a restaurant, right?
I've had 7 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So at that time, you own a restaurant. It closes down. I'm assuming you're making pretty decent money at the restaurant. Then you start doing this wrestling gig. You're like, what am I doing right now, man?
Yeah, that was it. So I never thought of wrestling, and then I just started doing these little weekend things here and there at a bar, and then they started putting me over, and then I got on a card where every once in a while they bring a name in, and the name this time in Alabama was Action Mike Jackson.
Uh-huh.
He was like the self-proclaimed junior heavyweight champion of Alabama for, I don't know, the last 30, 40 years, I guess, anyways. So I was doing my semi-main event at the time, and of course he was the main event. So I said, Mike, how do you get on TV? He said, he was doing some booking for the booker sometimes. He says, I bring guys up once in a while. He said, why don't you just come along? I can't guarantee you get on, but, see the show for free. So we started going to WTBS studios up in Atlanta every Wednesday, and they were short guys, and J.J. Dillon said, you got your stuff? I said, yes, sir. He says, okay, you're going to wrestle the tag team against the Barbarian and the Warlord.
Oh, enjoy it. By the way, Warlord was just in studio last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell me about that. Before we get to this story, I just got to take a quick commercial break, okay?
Sure.
All right. All right, man, we're back. So, okay, you're up against Warlord and Barbarian.
Warlord, but he was a giant.
Oh, yeah.
Muscled up and everything. I've never seen guys this big before. And
at this point, are you like, man, I don't really want to do this professional wrestling thing?
well, I mean, I thought I was pretty big, and I was about 230 at the time, and he's nothing but muscle. Anyways, so I'm in a tag match, and we're going, and I'm Barbarian, and he shoots me in the ropes and says, boo-boo. Now I'm thinking, what? But there's no time to think. I'm full of adrenaline, scared to death anyways, so I want to look good, so I hit the ropes and come off the ropes full blast into a foot. So a size 14, right in the nose. Broke my nose, blood gushing everywhere. What he did is he was saying big boot, like watch for the big boot. All I heard was boo-boo. Because Simone speaks with an accent anyways. So I guess they took pity on me, so JJ said, you come back next week? I said, well, sure. So I started doing TV every week. And then they said, can you do house shows? I said, well, yeah, I can do house shows too. And then they said, can you travel a little bit? So I said, yeah, I can travel. So that's how that all got going.
Well, now, so how does the pay change from a hot dog and a Coke to now you're in WCW? What are they paying you?
They started out at about 150, went up to 200, around there. But it was good because they taped 3 hours, and if you were on 2 to the 3 hours, that was an easy,
Yeah, make a couple $100, like
driving 45 minutes from home.
So you worked with Koloff in WCW. You just said you worked with the Powers of Pain. You also worked with the Steiner Brothers, right?
I did.
Sting and the Midnight Express.
I did.
Who was the stiffest? Who really worked you over? The Steiners as bad as they say they were?
Rick's a bit nuts. So yeah, he at the time really didn't care that much, and he was just big and strong.
Right.
Stiffest one I ever had was Vader.
Oh man, you want to tell that story?
He was the one. Yeah, and I think at the time he just didn't care. No respect for the whatever you wanted to call us, enhancement jobbers, carpenters, star makers, whatever.
So explain to me that, right? So you're a 230-pound guy, big guy. Obviously, Vader's 300-something pounds. But a guy works you over like that. You're supposed to be on the same team. Are you back in the locker room? Like, how's that conversation? Do you have a conversation with him? Or are you just worried about keeping your job?
Well, yes, you had a conversation. He didn't talk very much. He never did talk a whole lot. Mm-hmm. Before the match, he said, "Let me see," and he tried to press me over, make sure he could get me up.
Right.
And I got a lot of the good matches for a while because I could take a fall, any kind of a bump they wanted. I couldn't care what it was. I didn't get hurt. I didn't bitch and complain or anything like that.
Okay.
It's a big part of the business when you're a jobber, when you started. And we're talking about old school mentality with these guys too.
Mm-hmm.
So he was pretty rough. In fact, there's one where he squashed me on YouTube, and Nick Patrick, a couple of referees came out from the back after the match because they thought I was like really, really hurt. But a very little conversation with him. Another stiff one that was kind of funny is Gary Hart was managing Abdullah. And we were in Alabama at Continental Wrestling, Robert Fuller and guys like that, Tom Pritchard. So
got a little freeze there. Hold on a second. Let me see. Let's see if we could get him back on.
Hold on.
Bear with me here. Anyway, I'll keep the conversation going. So anyway, our special guest Randy. Whoop, here he comes. Is he back? Randy, you back?
I'm back.
All right, I lost you. You were talking about Gary Hart.
Yeah, so he was managing Abdul Butcher, a very, very nice guy, a brilliant mind at the time. Anyways, Abdul comes across the ring. Now, you don't know if it's coming. It's not like today where they work out the match and everything else. The first time you see the guy sometimes is when you get in the ring. So he hits me in the head with the plate and just pummels me and stands on my chest and my neck. That's 400 pounds, just standing there.
Hey,
bouncing.
We had Abdullah here. I had to lift him into his van. It wasn't very easy.
He's a big boy.
Go ahead, Fred.
A kendo stick. A kendo stick.
Okay.
And he just whipped the got him. And And then, of course, there's flying ladders, we called it. That was the finish.
Right.
So I got back in the locker room, and again, professional, common courtesy, you go to the guy, and the little guy, we go up, we thank him for the match and everything. So he's sitting back there with his feet up on a table smoking a cigar. And I thanked him for the match. He says, "You okay?" I says, "Well, yeah." I says, "It's stiff with that candle for the business." Now, I thought that was really cool. That's the old school mentality. Do what you got to do. It's good for the business. You don't cry, you don't whine, you do it. That's what you get paid for. So that was pretty good. I wrestled the third hour against Hacksaw Butch Reed.
Uh-huh.
And one of his finishers at the time was a bear hug. He got me up, and you could see the welt marks across my back from Abby in the first set. But those were probably the two toughest guys, Abby and Vader.
Who would you consider?
Steiner was tough.
Who would you consider was maybe your best friend in the business?
Of the Dane guys, I'll tell you who I always thought a lot of and got along very well with was Jimmy Cornette. And through Jimmy Cornette, his Midnight Express. Bobby Eaton, again, quiet, but boy, he was one of the best in there. Him, Blackjack Mulligan, I knew pretty well. He used to come into my restaurants and that. So they're probably the main guys that I was closest to.
Okay. So you leave WCW, you head up to the WWE, right? And I use I know it's WWF, but I just use.
I just got.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple of dark matches, just a couple individual shots. Not very many, 5 or 6.
What was the difference? What was the difference in your mind when you did get up Northeast? I understand they're dark matches, but working in WCW and then coming to WWE, was it a total transition for you, or was this wrestling was wrestling? I'm freezing up again. Hang in there.
The WCW locker room was a little more relaxed. Both are very professional. They're very similar, really, except for the attitude to some of the wrestlers. I found the over guys at WCW seemed to be friendlier and warmer, I guess, than the WCW guys. There was a couple of WCW guys, that had attitude, but for the most part, they were very respectful and appreciative of what we did for them.
Now, when you get to the WWE, though, they make you shave. From what I've read, they made you shave your mustache and change your name. Is that true?
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't want. Of course, they didn't want another Hogan because Hogan was just coming up,
Which, by the way, would have been pretty funny if you would have wrestled Hogan as Hogan, but that would have been okay. Go ahead.
I would love to. Well, see, that's why. And I still continued. You could work both places at the time. So when I was at WCW, they continued with the Hogan. In fact, Jimmy Cornette was doing commentary once, and I don't know who I was working. Somebody beating my brains out, and Cornette says, "Boy, I bet he wishes his big brother was here now."
That's pretty funny.
So yeah, so that was the only reference that they ever made to Hogan. But I think why they let me keep my name is they would job me out, making them look that much stronger over Hogan. They're not going to let a Hogan look strong when this Hogan is,
right.
Top in the world right now.
Right.
So that's basically what it is. So I stayed Randy Hogan the whole time there on TV. I never got any feedback or repercussions from Hulk or anything. The only acknowledgement I ever got was when he jumped to WCW. He went to Disney and they had a press conference. Him and Jimmy Hart and everybody, a big parade, like a ticker tape parade. And I was working for a radio station at the time. Just had a little 30-second bleep on wrestling. Anyways, I was there as a reporter, and I was right in the front. And he looked down and looked again and just kind of like nodded and winked. That was it. That's the only communication I've ever had with him to this very day.
Wow. That's amazing. He should give you
especially he lives an hour from me.
He should give you a little more credit than that too, right? I mean, Back to WWE real quick. Did you work with Rude the Warrior Rick Rude, the Ultimate Warrior, Mr. Perfect. Did you have any matches with them?
No. I'm trying to think of the ones I worked. Davey Smith. Back in the day, back then. David Boy Smith stuck out.
So,
yeah. It's at a loss.
Let's go back to either organization, right? So, you're enhancement talent. That's fine. Did the stars hang out with enhancement talent behind, outside the scenes? Did you guys go to the bars together? Were you privy to see what was actually happening in the locker room, as far as drug use or things of that nature?
Yes. I mean, you were privy to everything in the locker room. Did I see it? No. See, most of the guys that were really over, either there was a few of them in a separate little dressing room. You had a big dressing room everybody was in, and like a TV and everything. But the older guys, some of them you never saw them. I mean, they were the Flares, the Steamboat, whatever. They were in the general population like the rest of us. So a lot of it you didn't see. The politics I heard about more than anything through the locker rooms. Kevin Sullivan, I got pretty close with him, and he was kind of running the locker room at the time with WCW. And I guess what happened is when we were there, when we had the transition from Crockett's NWA into Turner's WCW, okay, they let a lot of the enhancement guys go because it was Jim Hurd and I think Bischoff. They wanted guys that actually knew how to work, not just get their brains beat out.
Right.
So it was almost like an audition type thing. So it was like me and George South and Gary Royal and a bunch of us. We kept on working regular with them, and Kevin was always in on the booking end of it. So as the guys got to know you, Sting, Luger, Midnight Expresses, a lot of them wanted to work with me because they know they could do whatever they wanted to do, and I wasn't going to get hurt or whine or cry about it, and it was fine with me. So now I'm in tag matches, but I'm not the one getting pinned. Now it's the other guy, So it's kind of a respect thing for the enhancement. I'm not sure long range if it worked that way in the WWE.
Well, was there a window where maybe you had heard maybe they were going to give you some sort of a push, right? The way they used to work with enhancement talent and let them start to win a few matches and try to get a few there?
No.
Use it up on me, man. Hang in there. He should clear up in a minute. So last question.
They had a couple of guys just had a little bit of fame.
Bear with us, folks. I'm sorry. We got a little bit of an internet breakdown here. Randy, if you can hear me. Can you hear me, Randy?
Yes.
All right, I'm sorry. You broke up there again. Could you go back to what you were saying?
Okay, the enhancement guys, we were talking about if any of them ever had a chance to get a push, Coming down here, Bob Cook being one of them, who had a bit of a push with when they had the territories out. We had Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley and Eddie Graham and everybody. Up in the Fed, you had Gilbert, throw off of Goldberg, and then you had WCW. You had Hogan, which was a throw off of a Hogan.
Right.
Barry Horowitz, who one of the mainstay guys up at WWE in Florida Championship Wrestling. He got the strap and got a bit of a regional push in that. So,
well, that's what I'm saying.
We did well with the independents and stuff. Just on TV.
Did you go into the regions and try to make a name for yourself within the regions? At that time in the 80s, you had that opportunity, right? You could have traveled and went to Texas.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if the Hogan mystique helped or hurt.
Yeah.
It helped on the independent thing because, they can't have hope, so what's the next best thing? There's nobody else out there, that has a goofy mustache and a bald head with blonde hair like me. So I go in, and of course I never said I was his brother or his cousin or his uncle. That was all promoted. They did whatever they wanted. And I said, pin me, pay me, I'll do whatever you want me to do. It doesn't matter. I'll be whatever you want me to be. Sure. But in certain areas, you get popular and people come see you on the independent circuit and that. And I worked for, like World Class. I was out there a little bit out in Texas and quite a bit of Continental, which, like I said, was the Farrell brothers and that in Alabama. And
well, do me a favor. Don't pass World Class so fast. So you with the Von Erichs and the Freebirds, right?
I just went in for a couple of matches when Eddie Mansfield was there at the time, and Eric Embry was doing the booking of that. So
share with
just popped into town, did a couple.
So you
were with
Al Perez. You were with Embry. I guess Fritz had already sold to Embry then when you went to World Class Championship Wrestling?
Yes.
So the Von Erichs was still there. I guess was Kerry still there, or did he already move to the WWE?
He had already moved.
Okay, so who are you working with? Just Kevin?
Kevin and David. Well, David was gone too, but
so
basically, Kevin. And Kevin was at his heyday, and Chris, I think Chris was there, or he was too young at the time, I guess. Yeah.
All right. And what was it like working in that territory? Was it the stories tell about the Von Erichs or, the drug use or everybody in that organization, how much drugs they were floating around in that place?
Again, I didn't see it. I didn't do it. I didn't see it. I didn't want to see it. You hear that everywhere. No matter what, Fed, independent, big time, whatever else, you hear it's going to be on. And it's funny because back then you didn't have all the big bodybuilder builds like you have now. You look at all the guys on TV now, and they're all one more muscled up than the other one. Back then, in the olden days, you had even Bruce San Martino. He was big, he was strong, but he wasn't a Tony Atlas type. And there weren't many like Tony Atlas. You mentioned earlier Rocky Johnson, guys like that. Rocky Johnson, well, he was a character. I loved Rocky. I worked so many shows with him.
Can you tell me a little bit about Rocky?
He was, as he got older, I think he felt guilty because he was away from his family so much. Good family man. Loved it. I used to work a show, actually monthly, down here. It was at an auction house. And he was there every meeting and that we got to know. And at this time, The Rock, Dwayne, was just starting to train. He was still down at the University of Miami. And he'd come up once in a while and just sit in the locker room as Rocky's son. It was nice to talk to him. So we're joking around once, and we're talking about how little we got paid, the little guys. And he said, it's every guy's dream. 6-pack, a ring rat, and a $25 payoff. And one of the things I remember, that was his saying, a 6-pack, a ring rat, and a $25 payoff.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then I want to ask you about a ring rat. All right? We'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, Randy, we're back. So, did you get married while you were a wrestler, or was it before, or was it after you retired?
You want to know the truth?
Yeah, go ahead. That's why I'm asking.
9 years ago, I got married for the 5th time.
Nice.
Yeah, 5. So,
first of all, what makes a man get married 5 times?
I'm
just telling you personal experience.
Who wants to be a jobber your whole life? You like getting beat up.
Really?
Yeah. So when I was not married when I was going through my heyday. I was single for 12 years until I got married this time.
Okay, well that's good.
Why'd you do it? I don't know. My wife's in the other room, so I guess I can say I don't know.
So the wife is out. So tell me, what was it like with the Ring Rats, being a single guy, enhancement talent, working with these guys? What's the life of Randy Hogan with some Ring Rats? Give me a good story.
Well, I got to tell you, we usually got the
Don't say it.
The leftovers?
Oh my God! Don't say it. Oh my God! Was it like this, Randy? Was it like Scott Steiner got done with one, and then they're like, "Here, take her. I'm done with her," and threw her at you?
No, it's like somebody would want to be with Scott Steiner, okay, or Terry Taylor at the time,
okay,
and they didn't want nothing to do with her, so they said, "Well, okay." So, how about you? Okay, baby.
And you're like, "I'll take her."
Yeah. Well,
that's great. Oh my God.
But back then it was a 6-pack of Ring Rat and a $200 payoff.
That's it, baby. That's all, man. So wait a minute. I don't want to get off this fast. So there you go. Girls come up. She's hot for Terry Taylor. He's like, "No, I'm not into it at all." And then what do you just come up and say, like, "I'm a wrestler. Let's hook up."
No, they usually find you. You're all outside, whatever else.
Right.
And everybody wants to talk to you, even though you're not an over guy. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what goes on in a woman's mind.
So
to this day, I don't.
Well, neither do I, man. We're in the same boat. So you're a wrestler, and you get married. What does your wife or one of your wives? I know there's 5 of them. What do they think about your career as a wrestler? Are they like, "What are you doing? Can we get a real job?" Or what are we saying here?
Well, like I said, when I was going through most of it, I was single, or I just had a girlfriend. It didn't much matter.
Right.
Probably the most supportive wife I have as far as wrestling goes is the wife I have right now.
Nice.
I'm not even wrestling anymore.
Nice.
So, but she has a lot of fun with it. So it's very supportive of me, and that's important too. But yeah, my age and everything else, it's not like I got the rats running around knocking on my door anyway.
Well, that's not happening for any of us anymore, my friend. That's
it ain't happening.
You're in this. We're all in the same boat. That's all good. If I can remember the trim I used to pull when I was younger, it was a big difference, right? So, if you could change your life, would you still have become a wrestler, or would you have stuck with something differently?
I would have started when I was younger, and I would have started with a mission to become somebody or something.
So you kind
of, I didn't start until I was well into my 30s, and I didn't really start wrestling until I was pushing 40.
Right. So you feel like you gimmicked yourself out a little bit. Maybe if you would have came with a different persona, things could have been a little different.
Probably so.
And by the way,
but I didn't know. All I wanted to know is this stuff real or is it fake? I'm a fan then. I'm a big fan right now, as much as I ever was.
Okay.
Of the different, some of the different products, like all the old timers. You know, we look at how it used to be and how it is today, and there's a lot of things we don't like about it. But all in all, it was a pretty good ride. I'm glad I did what I did, and I wish I would have taken it a little more serious when I was young and had the opportunities, because I think with the territories and that, there was more opportunities. There was a lot of feds around there that were paying decent money at the time, where now it's 3 or 4 and that's it.
Yeah, but you know what? I only jest, right? I'm going to sell your career short, right? You worked for major companies, and you had an influence on the business. So, kudos to you, and you're a known name. So, I'm only joking with you. So you should be very proud of what you accomplished. Let's talk about today's wrestling. What are you watching right now?
I'm trying to get into AEW and, of course, NXT. And I flip between the two. And in all honesty, I can't get involved with either one of them. I just can't catch on. I do the New Japan thing. I think NWA Power is if they hold course, it's probably got a better future. Being an old guy, and I think the older fans, you like to watch people wrestle that you know. I turn on NXT or AEW, I know maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of the names, but I don't know them. Still, if I look at WWE, I know the guys on the roster. So it's easier to watch who you know than who you don't know.
That's a great point. I feel exactly the same way, right? There's no storyline. It's you're watching guys that you like. Okay, everybody knows Jericho, right? Everybody knows Cody Rhodes. And I'll be honest with you. My partner's not here today. We talk about wrestling. I'm not huge into the wrestling, right? I'm into the storyline that gets me involved in the wrestling, that gets me excited. And that I don't see from any of the federations at all, honestly.
You're absolutely right. And that's what you talk to any of us old guys, say the biggest thing missing is the storylines, the drama, the soap opera, the edge of your seat. I want to tune in next week to see what's going to happen. Back when, again, I'll go back to like San Martino and even Flair and Hogan, they were world champions and they held the title for a long time, and you didn't see them on TV every week. You might see them in your town 2 or 3 times a year. Now they got whatever the 24/7 title is. The Intercontinental has lost its luster of what it had. When you had Mr. Perfect and Steamboat and everybody else had them. So the titles are more meaningless, and it's a shame. Like I said, as old guys, we like the storylines, and the storylines are just so short-lived. I mean, how many times do you want to see Reigns and Corbin go at it? There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no storyline to it.
You're 100%.
In the old days, you had like Kevin Sullivan and Dusty Rhodes going at it. They go over to territories, they go on, they'd be on TV, and then they didn't have pay-per-views, but there'd be a big match, say at the Omni in Atlanta or something. And you could follow the story of what's going on from town to week until it finally builds up and explodes, and then something else happens. You don't see that anymore. I don't like all the lack of finishing moves, I guess. Back in the day, God, I guess I am old. But if you did anything off the top rope, a crossbody, a drop kick, anything at all off the top rope, man, that's a finish.
Yeah.
You got it. That's it. You hit it. Now they're doing DDTs. They're doing stuff off the top rope. They're doing flips. They're going through tables and everything, and they're not finishing maneuvers. And somebody's got to finish, like the Undertaker or somebody else, and they're kicking out of it 2 or 3 times. Once a guy got you in a finish in the old days, that was a finish. You didn't kick out unless they were building you up for a big purpose and a reason. There's no purpose and reason to a lot of the moves that these guys make nowadays.
Yeah.
Just my old opinion.
I think your opinion is spot on, man, for sure. So let's talk about the big event, which is this Saturday. You're flying into New York. Tell me a little bit.
I am so excited. The only thing I'm not excited about is I was laying in the sun today. It was 90 degrees here.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I guess, rain and cold we're up there. So I had to go out and buy clothes just to wear. I guess my shorts and flip-flops wouldn't have cut it.
And buy a mask.
The big event is going to be highlights of my life, I'm sure.
So what?
Kevin and D365 and that promotions bringing me in, and they're just treating me like royalty.
That's great.
Treating me like I was a star.
So tell us about 365 Promotions, right?
I have never. I know people say this all the time, but this is the God's honest truth. I have never felt like I was part of a group or a family, I guess, as I have with Kevin and the guys. He's a straight shooter. I talk to him almost every other day about nothing or about something important. This whole convention thing is rather new to me and everything else. So I've got him and a couple other guys that are mentoring me, I guess, a little bit. Okay. And I mean, I just want to do good. I just want to have fun. I want to meet people I've never met before, and I want to make all of them some money so they have me come back. That's the bottom line.
That's great.
But Kevin and D365, I think Kevin has taken a lot of chances, from what I understand, in bringing unnamed talent in, indie guys and stuff. And he's really helped their careers a lot. And even me, I've been hiding for years and years now. All of a sudden, here I am at one of the biggest conventions in the country, with a great promoter and Undertaker, Bret Hart, all these guys. I just want to run around and get autographs all night. Really, that's how much of a fan I still am. So,
well, I think you're going to enjoy it, and I recommend to all the fans to go visit your table. Who's with you? Randy? Do you know
Ezekiel?
Okay.
Jackson. And Crowbar, the old WCW. He was a cruiserweight champion back in the old WCW days and stuff. And who else is with us? Velda, through Shimmer and Ring of Honor. I think that's it. I think the four of us at our table.
Good, that's great. Well, I'll be visiting you guys, so...
I hope so.
All right, so any messages to the fans before I let you go?
No, just thank you for all your support. You will never understand what this means to us old guys, whether they're the older guys or whether they're just us who got our brains beat out, as you thought, on Saturday afternoons. It means so much. It's like we can relive our past a little bit, share some stories, and just get to meet some of the second or third generation of fans that used to watch us. The grandpas watched us, and then the kids watched us. Now the little kids are getting into it. And now I'm going to have some Randomania t-shirts for sale, and pictures, and autographs, and all kinds of stuff. So it's just very, very exciting, and I thank the fans, and I thank D365 Promotions and anything else that happens in the future. I couldn't be more appreciative of anybody in the business.
Well, as a wrestling fan to you, we appreciate what you've done for the business, because if it wasn't for wrestlers like yourself, the industry would not be in the shape it is in today. And it is in pretty solid shape, right? It's $1 billion business now. Would you ever imagine wrestling for $100 now? What it's worth now?
Oh no! And then there were some of the guys like Triple H. He was working as Terror Rising, WCW. He was just a skinny, long, blonde-haired kid. Nothing, and now look at him.
Now he's a corporate billionaire. How does that?
Shawn Michaels the same way. Shawn Michaels was just a smart-ass young kid, with Marty Jannetty, and just went on to superstardom. So,
well, Marty punched me in the face in studio, so I don't really want to talk about him.
Oh God! Did you punch him back?
No, I did. He took me out, but it happens. I'm just a fat co-host. Anyway, Randy, thank you. I'll see you at the big event.
Great.
Thank you for taking your time and coming on our show. It's greatly appreciated, and you'll be on television in about 3 days from now. So I appreciate everything, sir.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
And thank you so much. You will never know how much we appreciate what you do too.
All right, we'll see you soon. All right, man. Randy Hogan tuning in to Monty and the Pharaoh. Good guy. So again, I want to remind everybody the big event is March 17th at LaGuardia Plaza Hotel. They've got, the list is long. I mean, any true wrestling fans looking for autographs is probably going to spend about $1,500 to $2,000 at this place. It could get crazy. Anyway, this has been another episode of Monty and the Pharaoh. You can catch us every Thursday from 8:05 to 9 p.m. at Village Connection Radio, and catch us this weekend where we have special shows out of Village Connection Radio. We've got in studio Tony Atlas and Pat Tanaka, then we go to Mr. Hughes, then we have the Killer Bees, and I'm very excited for the Greg Gagne interview. Unfortunately, Jake the Snake Roberts had to check out. From what I understand, he signed some sort of deal with AEW and can no longer do interviews. Don't really know if it's true or not, just repeating what was told to me. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you on Saturday. Please see us at the big event at our table. T-shirts where we've got Tony Atlas and Superstar Sonny Beach in studio. Once again, thanks again. We'll see you soon.